The movie sucks, but the character is cool. We discuss The Essential Spawn. So, we're here to talk about The Essential Spawn, aka what powers does he not have?
Oh my god. I remember researching this character before this show because he's a newer character. He only came out in the 90s. If I could talk to that would be fabulous. That's the superpower I need. He only came out in the 90s, 1992, and he's not that popular just yet, I would say. He's from a smaller form of comics, a smaller district of comics.
Image Comics.
Yes, exactly. So it's not Marvel, it's not DC. That's why we wanted to talk about him, because it's different.
Pretty much the guy who created it was like, I don't like working for the major companies anymore. I'm going to leave. And he left.
And I'm going to take all of your superpowers and mush them into one character.
Why doesn't he just spread them out among more people? Like, why don't he just split Spawn up?
Because that would just be too easy.
Okay, so let's get into his backstory. His name is Al Simmons, correct? Mm-hmm. And he was in the CIA. Well, first he was
an assassin in the CIA.
An assassin in the CIA.
He was in the Marine Corps, and then he went into the CIA.
And then he went to a mission in Botswana. And he was betrayed by one of his
best friends.
Yep.
By
under
the
the orders of his boss.
Yeah.
Because he knew too much.
So he knew too much. So his boss was like, "Hey, best friend of Al Simmons, what's his name again?"
Chapel.
Chapel.
Chapel is his nickname.
That's his nickname. He's like, "Hey, Chapel."
Way to read up.
Sorry. Shoot Al Simmons, or kill Al Simmons.
Exactly.
And then Al Simmons gets killed, and he goes to hell because he was an assassin.
Right.
So that's fun.
So by the way, if you're an assassin,
you're going to hell.
Deadpool's done, but he's already kind of a bad guy. Well, I don't know.
So he goes to hell, and basically the devil-like character says, hey, if you become Spawn, if you become this hell mercenary for me, basically, you can go back to Earth as Spawn to see your wife again, Wanda. And this does happen, but it's so many years in the future when he finally goes back to Earth. Thank you.
Yeah.
5 years
Way
in the
to brush
future.
up.
I don't know what that is, but I can't do any gestures. So basically, in the future, it's 5 years in the future, he goes back to see his wife, who's married to his best friend, and they have a daughter. And he is shattered by this, and he really wonders if he can continue doing the devil's dirty deeds.
Rick
if he can
Grimes'
fulfill
worst
his
nightmare.
Rick Grimes' worst nightmare. Don't get me started. Do not.
But anyway.
Let's talk about the powers that he has.
Okay.
We alluded we didn't talk about it.
So first off, he can transform his suit thing. He's a charred corpse.
His suit and cape.
That's how
Big
when he
items.
comes back. He's a charred corpse with this parasitic suit, kind of like Venom.
Venom meets the Punisher. Venom meets the Punisher.
The guy that wrote this story, he also worked on Venom a little bit. So I mean, you can.
He took the whole morphing kind of suit thing.
But he's got a little bit of Venom, a little bit of Cloak from Cloak and Dagger in him, and he just can kind of do anything. But he has limited power. If you want to go into that.
Oh, so he's got this little weird point system. Because apparently everyone operates on point systems. He has 9,999 points, and when he uses any of his various powers, he loses points, and it hasn't been really specified what happens when he loses all his points.
When he loses all his powers, he goes back to hell, and he's there forever, and he's no longer a Spawn.
So then
There's so much he could do with his powers. He has the power of super strength, super speed, super agility, which is kind of the same thing.
He can fly.
He could fly. He could resurrect people. He has empathy, which I didn't know was a superpower, aka
he reads emotions.
By the way, I'm also a superhero, because I have empathy. He just does every single thing imaginable, and it's crazy.
Somehow he manages to lose battles too.
I know, because of this point system. I feel like the guy was too perfect. What do we do? So the illustrator McFarlane.
Well, there's one thing that he can do. He can change his form and his suit. And that's where you get the whole, he has an axe, his cape becomes an axe. That's his go-to thing.
Because that is not a stretch.
But it doesn't take away from the point system, so that's why that's his go-to weapon. So his powers are usually oh, I'm going to lose this battle. Let's randomly shoot lightning at them because I can shoot lightning now.
He prefers guns. They tell us this. He prefers guns because of his arms training. But the one point I want to go back to is I kept we're not going to go too much into Watchmen and everything, but I compared him to Dr. Manhattan because he just has everything. He's we talked earlier, superheroes are godlike almost, and he's not a superhero, definitely. He's an anti-hero, and he's lost, but they're like formidable forces. These are things he can't, a normal superhero may not be able to deal with. And that's why he isn't a hero. He's fighting God. He's fighting the devil.
Which he kills both of them, or sends.
He sends them to a parallel dimension because their fighting is senseless.
So first off, this guy usurps not only the devil, but God.
His morals are with God, but he belongs to the devil.
All I could say if I were Todd McFarlane after writing this, I'd be like, I should probably go confess my sins now. I just wrote the book that every Christian church is going to say, hey, we're burning this after church today. Come do it. So I felt, not that I'm getting into that whole thing, but I just think that was a pretty intense, it's an intense comic book. So I say, read it, give it a try, see what you think about it to our viewers. And then, hey, camera over here is my good side. Back to that one. So give it a try. See how it goes.
Just with the nature of how he works, everything is so over the top that it kind of reminds you of those like childish cartoons like Dragon Ball Z where things just explode.
Well, I think
that's for another time. Shut up. That's for another time. We got to get going here. Happy holidays to everybody. This is our holiday episode, so with all our spawn and killing things. So you have a wonderful holiday. Have a great break. We'll see you next semester here at Between the Panels. I'm Katie.
I'm Ricky Shue.
And I'm Nick.
Have a great break.